Hi guys, it's another one brand tutorial. This time it's drugstore. I go every other with drugstore and high-end. The last one was It Cosmetics, and this one is NYC. So many people have asked to see an NYC one brand tutorial. I think everybody, myself included, is kind of fascinated to see how a line of super inexpensive cosmetics comes together to create a full look on your face. By the way, there are lawnmowers outside, there are roofers on the roof right now. It is just a really loud morning here, so please forgive me if you hear a lot of sounds coming through on this video. I love getting your requests for these kinds of videos, so make sure and let me know down below in the comments section what brand you'd like to see featured next. I'll also link in the info box to every one that I've already done, so you can see it if it's already there. I feel like this look is very soft and feminine. The colors I'm using on my eyes really remind me of a Naked 3 type look, so I hope you enjoy it, and here's the tutorial. So the foundation I have is the Smooth Skin Liquid Makeup. My shade is Soft Beige, and if you've got a glass bottle and a little bit thicker foundation, you're gonna run into this problem where it doesn't want to come out, so I go in with a Q-tip just to kind of loosen up that product a little bit and get it to where I can dab it around on my face. This isn't a super thick foundation actually, but it just, I don't know, it needs a squeeze tube. So I'm just taking this brush from Sigma and I'm gonna blend that in all over. Not a heavy coverage foundation by any means, but it is somewhat buildable. It does kind of maintain a pretty natural appearance. Like if you get an up-close look at your skin, you know, it looks more evened out, more perfected, but I'm not seeing a lot of makeup. Now the concealer I've got is the Cover Stick. I have this in the shade Light, and it actually is really creamy. It's not at all dry seeming, and I know the packaging stated something about vitamin E in this product or whatever, and as you can see, the light is kind of light on my skin tone, and since I don't have a specific like highlighter from NYC, I'm definitely going to go ahead and place this wherever I want, you know, a little added brightness on my skin. So my brightness, kind of, you know, chin, nose, brow bones and stuff, but really looking at this for its coverage purposes on my under eye area. For what it is, I mean, it seems to actually be pretty good coverage. The thing is when you've got like darkness around the inner parts of your eye or anything like that, I really like to use some sort of a corrector type product, something in a peachy tone to really camouflage that. And I feel like lighter skin tone concealers just kind of lighten that part or brighten it up a little bit, but don't completely camouflage it. So that's always something I've found. I feel like a broken record when I say that kind of thing. Now that I've got that foundation and concealer on, I won't say it's completely dry seeming. It's not super tacky either, but it's definitely the kind of finish on my skin or the kind of texture that I'd like to set. And I do have this Smooth Skin Loose Face Powder in Naturally Beige. So I've got some of that in the lid here, picking it up with my e.l.f. complexion brush. And I'm just going to pat this around the areas that I made a point to conceal so I don't disrupt that concealer. And just continue with a very light layer elsewhere on my face. Next up, I'm going in with a little bronzer, and I am using this Color Wheel Mosaic Face Powder in All Over Bronze Glow. It is totally matte. I do have a full review on this product, but I still feel like I've talked about it less than my Smooth Skin bronzer in Sunny, which is also a matte bronzer, but much lighter. I think it would be really good for extremely fair skin tones or somebody who just wants the lightest amount of bronze possible. But this, I think, gives a little more contrast with the skin and can be just a really good contouring product. So using that same brush I use for the powder, I'm going to start getting some of this right here in the hollows of my cheeks. And I am going to take this up around my hairline also, the temples, thinking kind of about where the sun might hit me naturally. And then for my blush, I'm using this NYC Cheek Glow in West Side Wine. And it seems like all the shades they have in this line, with the exception of some limited edition things, are very muted. Extremely neutral colors. This one, though, actually reminds me a lot of a product from Benefit called Dallas. I think it's very pretty. And the fact that this is close to that makes me very happy. So Even though this is so neutral, I still think it's a really pretty blush shade. So I'm using this little angled blush brush from e.l.f. and I'm just applying that here on the outer part of the apples of my cheeks, sweeping it upward. But the color is kind of buildable, but it's just gonna be a softer blush. Also, I don't really see any shimmer in this shade, so if that's something you like to steer clear of, you might be interested in this as well. There is a little kit that NYC has called Browser Brush On Brow Kit, and I have this in Brunette. It's got a couple of little tools here. One is a brush, a little set of tweezers as well, which I do find to be pretty usable, seem to work well. I used them before I got going with any of my makeup today. The brush is a little chunky, like it's cut very blunt, and I think that's fine for getting the wax part on here. But I don't really like to use it for filling in. So I just kind of use a little wax first, just a clear wax. And then I'm bringing in a separate brush for this matte brow powder. I'm just gonna lightly even things out a little bit. This color does seem pretty good for my brows, kind of a cool dark brown. Okay, it's really looking pretty good. I'm going to take the little wax brush again and just add a little bit more now just to kind of set these. That's all I've done here. I didn't do any extra gel, but I think this wax has a pretty good hold. And then everything just fits back into this little compact like so. And then for eyes, the product I'm using is one of these individual eyes palettes in Midtown Mauve. But I mean, this tutorial is not going to be something crazy, unique, and different from like an everyday eye look for me. Think of it as less of a creativity tutorial and more of a review purposes type tutorial, because I want to show you, you know, how these pack on, how they sheer out and blend out, how they apply with different brushes. So that's kind of the purpose of this tutorial. Beyond just being a quad of eyeshadows, you do have a base and also a cream like highlight type product that's really, really frosty. It's a little too frosty for my liking, so we're just going to stick to this cream. And something I have found with these palettes is that you don't want to overuse the cream base. It will still crease on me, you know, if I go too much. But these shadows apply really nicely on top of it. I'm going to start off with this pearly pink, and I'm just going to dab that around my inner corner. Then I'm taking this taupe. It actually has like just a hint of a rosiness to it. It's a little bit unique in that way. Same brush, just patting that all over my lid. Decent color payoff with this. I mean, I'm really seeing the color show up on my lid. It's showing up very true to color. Then for the crease, I'm going up to this burgundy right here. This is my Sigma E25. Get a slight wash of it in there. You know, there's a very light amount, and then start going back for more. Much easier to add more than to take away. But as you can see, I'm going just kind of windshield wiper motions there back and forth in my crease. So that shade shears out, I think, really beautifully, but I want to show you how it packs on as well. So with a smaller brush, I am just going to add a little bit here to my outer corner. See how you can get a darker, more intense look with that as well. Looking at this shade right here, so this is our rosy taupe again, and I'm going to take this with a really wispy brush and shear that out on the border of the burgundy. And then just a fluffy brush going into that pink, and I'm just going to apply that right under my eyebrow. Then I've got this high definition liquid eyeliner. It's a liner pen. I'm very familiar with their just regular liquid liner, and I do like it a lot. This is a nice concentrated black shade as well. I mean, you can see it's showing up pretty full color even on top of a very frosty shade. I'm gonna go out with just a hint of a wing here just to show you how it does that. So you see what I mean, it gets the job done there. And then I totally thought I had a black pencil liner from NYC, but apparently I don't. So I'm gonna use this one from Jordana. It's the 12-hour Made to Last. I only need it in a really small spot here. I just want to connect up to that wing from my lower lash line. And then I'm gonna take a liner brush with this burgundy, and that's just gonna kind of set what's happening here, go over that. Gonna also take that inward a bit. And then I'm using the taupe with an E21 brush, and I'm just smudging that all over the lower lash line. And then the mascara I'm using is the high definition volume kind in the orange tube. I don't know how well you can see, but there is one like a longer strip of rubber bristles coming off of this brush, and everything else is the same length, but it's got one like kind of additional comb on here. And I've enjoyed it from when I first opened it up. I've had this tube and been using it on and off for about a month now, and it really builds nicely. Like, there's a look at just one coat and you can really see, you know, that I'm working with something here. This is good. And then I'm gonna apply a little bit here on the lower lashes. Going with a very soft lip for this look, I'm using my NYC Expert Last lipstick in Smooch, and I have reviewed the ones that I have from this line. These are just very creamy, very full color lipsticks. But I do want to go over it with just a little bit of gloss. This is the Liquid Lipshine in Brighton Beach Peach. A lot of these shades are pretty opaque, like deeper and brighter tones are. This one's more sheer, and that is kind of what I want with this look. Is just a very soft, like, little bit of gloss on top. So I always like to wrap up these videos with some little reviews on the stuff that I used. As far as face products go, talking about the coverage items like the foundation, the cover stick, and the smooth skin powder. I actually do like this powder. I think this is a good, really mattifying loose powder. I think it adds a little hint of coverage, but if you want to apply it really lightly, like I did with this look, you can. So I think that might be my pick of these face products. This foundation I find to be a little bit better than some of the others in their line. Packaging is really inconvenient though, especially when you've got to go to the effort to dig out some of the foundation from the bottle. It does give a natural look on the skin. It's kind of like a light to medium coverage type product. I don't see myself repurchasing this. I don't think it's like really fabulous enough for me to go and recommend it to everybody else. And kind of the same deal with the cover stick, you know? Now there's a saw. It is creamier than I would have expected, and I think if you want something really inexpensive to kind of use mostly in a brightening capacity, this could be really good. But again, for major corrective type issues on your face involving dark circles, I would go for more of a peachy tone corrector. The color face products. This Mosaic bronzer, love it. Check out my full review on it if you want more in-depth details, but I think this is a great matte contouring type bronzer. This blush, I feel like I really have to kind of describe it for what it is. You know, it's a subtle blush. For a soft look, I think it's good. I think light skin tones are going to be able to use this. If you're medium, tan, deeper, I really doubt that this will even show up on your cheeks at all. If you told me, 5 years ago that I'd be recommending these palettes to people, I'd have said, what? You're crazy. It's going to have to change a lot. And actually, I feel like the formula of NYC's eyeshadows have changed substantially. I remember having some of these palettes laid out the very same way very soon after they first launched, and I thought, oh my gosh, like these little creamy products were so dry, they were like just in a huge chunk falling out of the pan. The eyeshadows weren't pigmented at all. Now they've come up with, I think, a formula of the shadows that's quite a bit more rich than what it used to be. I don't think they're as intense as a Wet n Wild eyeshadow at all. But for a beginner who's looking for something that's pretty easy to blend out, that can give you, you know, some decent color payoff, this might be something to try. All in all, I think these palettes can give you a good look, and I've bought multiple different ones after realizing how much more I like the formula now. Here, it's like these 3 shades are shimmery, this one's matte. There tends to be more shimmer than matte in these palettes, but in most of mine, they give you at least something matte to work with. This liner pen is good. I mean, I think it gives off good black color. It is not waterproof, not that it necessarily claims to be, but it can smudge off if you've got like really watery eyes or you find yourself rubbing your eyes a lot. Also, I would have liked to have seen a more flexible tip just after using some different liners like Milani's Eye Tech Extreme that have that really nice kind of skinny tip that really just follows, you know, the contours of your eye. I think this is a little more difficult to use for how stiff it is, but it's still usable, if that makes sense. Browser Brush on Brow Kit. I really think this is a great concept for a drugstore eye product. e.l.f. has a similar kit that gives you a wax wax and a powder, and that's typically what I want. I want some sort of wax to give the powder something to cling to, and if I'm not going to go ahead and use a separate brow gel, I really do want that wax because it helps hold the shape of the brows more also. It's got a usable pair of tweezers, it's got a little brush there. I don't like it better than my Too Faced Brow Envy because I really like having the 2 tones of powder, but for a cheaper option that lets you experiment with what it's like to use a wax and a powder. If you haven't tried this method before, this or the e.l.f. Studio Brow Kit might be something you want to experiment with. High Definition Volume Mascara. I have actually tried quite a few of NYC's mascaras here recently. This is definitely still my favorite one. This one I feel like does give me a nice combination of both length and thickness, so I was pretty impressed with what this does. Not my favorite thing to wear on the lower lashes because that's where I can tend to have some smudging issues. And lip products. I think this might call for a follow-up blog post because I've got more NYC lip products than what I was even able to use in this video that I would recommend. The Ultra Moist Lip Wear in Sheer Red is awesome. Great wearable red. I like one of their Applicious lip balms in the Apple Plum Pie. That's gorgeous. Some of their neat little double-sided lipsticks are real cool, but more recently what's come out is the Expert Last lip colors, and they have some really intense shades. I'll link to my review where you can see some of those on my lips, but this soft color called Smooch I think is really pretty. Very full color on the lips. They've got some more shimmery options, but I really like the creams in this formula. And then the liquid lip shines are really good as well. They've got a very deep wine color that I think is just great around fall and winter. Not sticky at all. Really comfortable. So I'd say my top picks of what I've tried: this bronzer, the eyeshadows in various colors, not just the one I used today, and also some of these lip products from NYC. Surprisingly good quality with some of that. I think it's becoming more and more clear that drugstore brands are stepping up their game, especially over recent years, and I think NYC is no exception. They've come out with some good products, they've improved some products that have been around for a while. So all in all, I think this was a pretty successful trial and error session here, but thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.